Breaking news, everybody. NASA has revealed this new picture. It's like the highest quality picture ever of space, and it's revealed thousands and thousands of galaxies that were previously invisible to us, and none of those were an anime that I wanted to watch this season. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tokyo Podfathers podcast. And this season it is an interesting one, a very interesting one. It's going to be a quiet impressions this time around because of a few reasons. One of them is because I'm sleep deprived, which is normal. Another is because, I don't know, I guess we just weren't all that motivated to watch a bunch of new anime this season. It just isn't as stacked as some past seasons, but I guess there are still some shows that we want to talk about. But I do owe an apology to probably the audience, and especially Panic, because this season was just harsh for me. It's like every single franchise that I hate all converged into this one season, and it descended upon me like a swarm of locusts, and it has caused me great emotional turmoil. So that's why I'm the way I am.
All the shows you hate, I love.
Exactly. That's why I have to apologize to you.
Also, sorry for the episode being very, very late. That's my fault for not editing it on time. My life is completely falling apart and I wish I was dead. And yes, I'm aware we missed out on Engage Kiss, and we're not watching the Yakuza babysitting show. They're probably good anime. I do want to watch them at some point. I will watch them later. I'm sorry for not talking about them on the impressions. Also, we're not watching Classroom of the Elite because that shit's ass.
That's just the way things are right now. So
I don't know. I don't like any of the Panic shows either.
But I won't apologize.
But I have actually found a lot of stuff I'm really enjoying in this season.
I guess we're going to have a mixture of three different flavors. Mozilla Fennekin, am going to be a complete and utter asshole throughout this entire podcast.
So normal.
Everyone, give this video a big thumbs down. Leave in the comments why Maz sucks. And then Panic is going to be the guy who loves everything.
Hey, whoa. Not everything.
Panic is going to be the garbage apologist.
Yeah.
Again, normal.
And I guess Senris will be the middleman between the two of us, who's kind of on both sides.
Resident raccoon just digging through the trash, being like, yes! Another great find.
So yeah.
That one's more uncommon.
Yeah. So I guess this is a nice counter for all the people who always tell us, like, we're too positive and we agree too much. Well, and also,
do people tell us we're too positive? I always see people getting mad at us for not liking.
If we dislike something, it's also way more visceral in that direction.
Yeah,
and also,
we can be hateful.
Whenever we dislike something, the fans of that series seem to find us.
Uh-huh.
When we talked about Mushoku Tensei in 86, it's like all of our comments were about Mushoku Tensei in 86 and why we're wrong.
Mushoku Tensei fans are...
Why are you here?
Are like a crazy breed. Like, if you don't praise it to the heavens, then you hate it. And you're a shitter for hating it.
You just didn't get it.
You just don't get it.
Anyway, fortunately, there's no season of Mushoku Tensei. That would have I would have retired.
That would have ended your life.
Yes.
There is another. Isn't there one coming soon?
Hopefully not.
Maybe they just confirmed season 2. Maybe it's not soon at all.
I hopefully never. Why would they do that? Anyway, let's talk about the anime that actually are out this season. So, first one that we've got is I think the one show that all three of us have actually seen, because there was a lot of hype going into it, and it is the most popular non-sequel of the season, and it's called...
Oh, it is good.
Yofukashi no Uta, or Call of the Night.
I'm really into this show. This, not including sequels at least, and continuings, is definitely my animated season so far.
Wow.
Ooh.
How about you guys?
Yeah, I'm digging it. Has a lot of style to it. I started reading the manga a long time ago. I never really got very far because I couldn't really engage with the characters. Still don't know if I can't. or if I can, but I mean, I'm only like some 20, 30 chapters in. The show's gonna catch up to me in no time, so hopefully it'll get better. Like, I like it, but I'm not like super into it.
Well, it's good that you mentioned the manga and you mentioned that it's stylish because it's directed by Tomoyuki Itamura, who's the director of Monogatari.
Specifically, all of Monogatari after the first season.
Yeah.
And also the Kinsou.
It's like looking at this show, can you guess who worked on it? Huh?
Yeah.
It changes camera angle with every sentence.
It is funny having the Monogatari connection, too, because there's definitely, like,
It's also a vampire.
a virgin Araragi versus Chad, this guy. What's his name? Ko.
Ko.
Yeah, there's definitely a virgin Araragi versus Chad Ko thing going on.
Yeah.
Where Araragi's like, oh, I'm depressed, wandering
man.
around alone at night, meet a vampire, I'll let her suck my blood so that I can die. Ko's depressed, wandering around at night, meets a vampire, I'll let her suck my blood so I can live forever.
And be a vampire, because I love the night. Fuck yeah. And it's like, oh man, you gotta fall in love, actually. Well, shit, I don't know what that is,
Yeah.
because I'm 14. Damn.
Right.
And depressed.
And also the manga, speaking of that, it's by the Dagashi Kashi creator, although that's
Yes.
probably also very
Oh.
obvious.
Creator of unbearably hot characters.
I don't find this girl hot at all, but there is
No, me
something
neither.
about
It's
her.
weird.
Oh. Well, I don't know, there's just like something alluring about her, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's the big thing I want.
It's
going.
that weird, she's always wearing this weird, like, I don't know if it's like a rubber, like this weird top. I don't know what it is. I've never seen anything like it, and she's always wearing
I
it.
think it's probably leather.
Leather,
Yeah.
maybe? I don't know, I get the feeling looking at her, she's very shiny. She looks like she's cold and clammy at all times.
Yeah. I think something that struck me watching this show that might be a controversial take, I don't know, is that I don't feel like this show is very horny, but it's very sexy, if that makes
Yes.
sense. Like, it does a really good job at conveying the allure of, like, vampire fetishism and that kind of, like, subtle, mysterious sexiness of, like, walking alone on,
Yeah,
like, a cool summer night.
but in a very matter-of-factly kind of way.
Right, without being, like, big anime titty fan service, you know?
Yeah.
Like, all of the scenes of the two of them, like, in bed together before she drinks his blood, like, they're very intimate in a way that I find
Yeah.
really appealing.
Like they're just lying down.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's
That
like
does make sense.
contrast this show with fucking Hanekawa gym storage.
Yeah,
scene.
right.
The way I feel about it is that this author is interesting. Like, the mangaka is interesting because this anime, unlike Dagashi Kashi, it really adapts their style almost literally. And I think the way they draw characters it's like, for an ecchi anime, they're not drawn to be very perfect. Like
No.
I don't know, this girl is just like very lanky and just kind of weird looking, I think,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Well, she looks exactly like the student council president in the gambling show that I like. The name of which
Kakegurui.
Kakegurui.
Mary
Yes.
was her
Yeah.
name.
No, not
No,
Mary.
not Mary.
Oh,
Not Mary.
Mary was never the president of anything. She just
The-
she
oh,
just
the
thinks
the one with
president,
the one
the
with the blue
antagonist.
lips.
Yes.
Okay.
they have
It is
similar
exactly
hair.
the same character design.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about it, but you are right.
You are right. Maybe she's a vampire.
But anyway, you were saying about the style?
I think that's just about it, really.
Okay.
I wonder. I had a revelation. Have either of you seen Morbius?
No.
Why am I asking?
We had a
what
whole
Morbius is
podcast about how I have not seen more.
Oh, that's right. But maybe you'd seen it since. I don't know. That's
Is
months
that
ago.
how Morbius becomes a vampire? He falls in love with this girl?
No, but here's what I... No. He splices his DNA with vampire bats to cure a sickness. It's not
That's the
important.
worst way.
But
That sounds fucking.
the thing is, he and the other guy, the have sex guy,
Matt Smith definitely falls in love with them because he has sex.
They bite a lot of people and kill a lot of people as vampires, but none of them become vampires until the very end, when the girl he's in love with dies and becomes a fucking vampire.
Oh,
so I'm thinking there's a link. Maybe it's the same universe.
It's in the MCU, the Morbius Cinematic Universe.
It's in the Morbiverse. It's the same rules.
Oh, we've cracked the code.
You gotta fall in love and then be killed or eaten by a vampire, and then you become one.
That's good.
I want to know, Sinris, what is it that makes this anime so good for you?
I think, honestly, it's a lot of the same things that I like about Monogatari. So I'm going to put it pretty heavily on the direction. Mm-hmm. I think the presentation of it is really good. That like constant feeling of just like the very much like literally the call of the night, like the allure of being out after dark. The dynamics between the characters, like their banter is really good. The comedic timing is excellent. Mm-hmm. All of the times when Nanakusa will make like a horny joke, and then Ko will just be like, rather than doing like the big anime overreaction, he'll be like, "Can you stop saying that?
Stop! You're saying it all
it's
the time."
It's like when they meet the other friend, Akari?
Akira.
No,
Akira.
Yes, and Nanakusa is like, "Oh, don't worry about us." Yeah, Nanakusa Nazuna. Yeah. Don't worry about us. We just have a purely physical relationship. And she says that 2 or 3 times, and then Ko's like, stop calling it that.
Would you stop it?
Yeah. I think, like, their dialogue feels very, like, genuinely funny. Mm-hmm. And that really contributes to the sense of, like, intimacy and, like, genuine feeling sensuality that really draws me to the show.
They have a fun, like, contrast in that she will make like lewd comments all the time and he will be annoyed by it or sometimes flustered, whatever, but whenever he talks about love, she just like curls up in a ball.
Totally.
No, don't say love. Stop it.
Like she can dish it out, but she can't take it.
But it's like she's,
and I find that like a really
she has
fun
no
dynamic.
problem talking about sex, but when it comes to love, she just cannot handle it.
Right. I want to shout out the OP for this show.
Oh, yes.
I think is really clever. First off, the song is really good. But there's just like the one little cut in it that I love where it feels like the song is winding down and ending. And then it pans out to the whole cast like watching it on a TV. And then the song continues. I think that's
they're
really
like in
fun.
the cutting. They're like watching dailies on a movie production.
Yeah.
I honestly
and
don't
a
like
fun
that.
fact about this is that the OP and the ED are both done by a band called Creepy Nuts.
Creepy Nuts.
First off, great name.
Hell yeah.
But the ED is called Yofukashi no Uta, and supposedly the story behind that is that the manga is named after that song.
Yeah. That song fucking
sucks. I had no idea.
That song is so good. I've been listening to it all the time.
That song is awesome. But then now that they are adapting it, they not only got that song to be the ED, they also got Creepy Nuts to do an original OP for it.
Yeah.
So nice.
Which I think is really cool.
Because I remember when I've never heard of this band, but I remember when this anime got announced, they made a really big deal about this band being part of the music, and it's like, okay. All right, let's go Creepy Nuts.
What is it with Japanese band and their names? It's like Bump of Chicken, Creepy Nuts.
I love it.
It's like just random garbage. What are they called?
One of my favorite Japanese bands, Massive the Fermenting Dregs.
Yeah.
What are they called? The ones who did the... God damn it. Honda-san ED band. They're called something funny. Oh, Techno Boys Pullcraft Green Fund.
Yeah.
What?
that actually sounds like an English language like shitty indie band.
And
That's definitely a shitty indie band.
And Pullcraft is with one L. It's not even a real word. I just looked it up. It's not like a technical term. It's just a wrong spelling.
Nice. But yeah, that's Call of the Night. Do you guys have anything else you want to?
I will say, I also love the way the anime looks, because obviously I'm, such a huge Shaft fan, and even Shaft alumni, have gone on to do fantastic stuff like this guy, like the guys who are making Kaguya-sama. There's one shot that I want to shout out, and I'll put it on screen. It's when they're in the elevator,
yes.
And it's kind of like a top-down view of Nazuna and the guy, and you can see there's a mirror. There's the elevator mirror, of course, and you see the guy in the mirror, but she is not in the mirror. And that was like one of the first shots of the anime before it explains anything, and I noticed that immediately. I'm like, oh, that's so good.
That's good stuff.
That's
good
sick. If it became before explaining she's a vampire, then that's sick. Yeah.
I will say my thing with it, my gripe about it is that actually I have two gripes about it.
Not enough.
One, what?
Not enough witch hats.
True. That's always a problem. But the two gripes I actually have is that I actually don't like the OP. I actually really hate that part where it basically stops. And
it caught me off guard the first two times. I was like, oh, is the OP over?
I would really just like it if it was the first 45 seconds or something. I don't know. I just don't like it.
I think it's clever.
All right. That's fair. The other thing is that I'm not entirely sure how to put this, but I feel like the show is very long-winded and not necessarily in a good way. It just feels like it spends a lot of time doing absolutely nothing or saying absolutely nothing.
That's true, definitely. But I've found that like their conversation flows so well that I have never gotten bored watching it yet. And there are definitely a lot of shows that are much more full of things happening where I get bored watching.
Okay, that's fair.
We just say
that's about it, though.
It's chewing the scenery, as they say in movies.
It's kind of the Monogatari vibe again, where like...
I was about to say, but I didn't want to offend.
The majority of the runtime of any given Monogatari episode is just like two people talking about nothing in an empty room.
Yep. Jesus Christ, shut up.
Right. They'll talk for... Like, the formula of at least 50% of Monogatari episodes is two people talk about nothing in an empty room for 10 minutes, and then finally they say something important, and then there's like a scene cut to another empty room where Araragi talks to a different person about nothing for 10 more minutes. And then like maybe in the last 5 minutes some action happens. Like that's most Monogatari episodes, and that's kind of how this one feels too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't know, when there's like engaging dialogue, even if nothing they're saying is important, I always find that entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. Anything else on this one?
Nope. No. Music's also really good. That's the other thing I want to say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I love the presentation of it overall. I'm just... Yeah, it's just all right to me. And then the other show, and I kind of have a feeling that what you just said about shows that have more going on but say less might apply to this next one, Sinris, because this is Lycoris Recoil. I'm not sure how you feel about it. How do you feel about it?
I have only watched the first episode of this one so far.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I can definitely easily imagine it turning out to be a show where a lot happens, but nothing matters. But
okay.
I have also heard good things about it.
I've watched 3 episodes so far, and I know 5 are out. Sorry, I work full time. I don't have a lot of time to watch anime.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that's entirely true. Although I will just the problem with it, I guess, it's like the concept of it is all serious, where it's like, oh, it's these secret assassins who do all this stuff, who to preserve peace in the nation and stuff like that. Like they do really important work, but then it's also they're like high school age, so that they can have high school level drama, basically.
Uh-huh.
It's like the main characters I think are pretty fun, but then everyone around them is so shallow and just kind of shitty.
Yeah.
And sometimes it gets a little difficult to take seriously.
I was kind of feeling that a little bit, just in the concept where like they're like they are these like secret hitman agents, like trained from youth to work in the shadows to keep the peace in Japan.
Yeah.
But also like they're servers in a maid cafe for no reason.
Well, that's because this girl in particular, Chisato, she's like an outcast or whatever. Like there's some stuff going on where like she's not following the proper code or whatever, so they kind of just like pushed her aside and had her do some other shit. So it's like she technically works for this organization, but she's not like a proper member. And then the other girl, Takina,
the other girl gets like assigned there as a punishment.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, that's fine.
But yeah, I'm with you. For now, I think it's fine. It's I guess it's just very anime, really.
Yeah.
Like for better or for worse, it's very anime. It has a lot of energy to it. The main character is just a ball of fun and fluff and lesbo energy. And it's well animated, it's well presented so far. But again, it just feels really shallow a lot of the time, and it
kind of gives me vibes of Attack It Op Destiny.
Yeah.
If anybody remembers the existence of that show a year later.
Barely.
I couldn't really tell you exactly why, but it might be because like the main girl's designs are somewhat similar, but it's also kind of like a premise that could be cool and interesting if it was a little bit less anime, maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it so far. Like the action scenes I've seen so far, I thought like the gunplay choreography was good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any beef with it. The first episode didn't blow me away, but I'm excited to watch more.
Okay. I will say, although the fights can be kind of cool, Chisato's power is that she can just have bullets magically not hit her ever, even when someone is shooting directly at her. And they even explain that she's just super good at knowing the trajectory or like the sight lines of any weapon that's pointed at her or whatever. Like
yeah,
that.
I did see they kind of showed that before they explained it in the first episode there. So I'm gonna give them some props for like showing her predicting the path of the bullet.
I get it, although
before explaining that she can do that.
Although I think in the second and third episodes you'll see it's really taken to an extreme.
Okay.
Which again makes it a little bit hard to take seriously. Although I do really like this character. In a way, it's ironic because it's like I think she's fun as an anime character, and as a person, she would make me want to die if I was around
sure.
her.
Yeah,
but she does have this really fun little quirk where like she really values life, and so that's kind of why she was outcast away from the main team, is because she didn't want to kill anybody. And even when she's doing her job,
which makes the job as a hitman kind of difficult.
Yeah, and even when she was doing stuff like that, she would shoot with rubber bullets and then treat their wounds later on, and like kind of win them over with power, friendship, and fun things like that. Which is interesting and a nice little twist, and it makes a good foil for the other girl who's always like just dead serious. I'm gonna fucking kill people.
Yeah.
I also probably didn't take the show as seriously as I should have, or maybe the anime wanted me to, because I was just thinking about having sex with Chisato the whole time. I just love her design. She looks very much like Siesta from The Detective Is Already Dead, which is a show that no one liked, and they just announced the second season of it last week.
Hell yeah, dog.
I missed that announcement.
They're just making sequels for everything now. But yeah, the other thing is that I'm interested in seeing where it goes because it's original. So anytime I see an original tag, I just feel like there has to be like some really different, unique idea. At least I would hope there is. I don't know. I mean, it could just be a fun popcorn anime, which for all intents and purposes is fine.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be the Wonder Egg of 2022?
I mean, I don't think it's not high concept enough to it's not ambitious enough to have such a huge fall. I don't think.
All right.
Yeah, because the first couple of episodes of Wonder Egg were really like gave me vibes like few things I had seen before.
Yeah.
And this is not that.
No. But yeah, it's fun at least. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And then the other anime that you and I have seen is Isekai Ojisan, or Isekai Uncle, which automatically gets props for just being that title. Like, they could have so easily slotted 3 sentences at the end of this title, like, Isekai Oji-san, my uncle was hit by a car and reincarnated into another world, then he got reincarnated back into our world 17 years later after falling into a coma.
And the restraint they showed by not naming it that is really commendable. Also, this is a show that I ignored initially because I thought it looked atrocious. And actually, it's really funny.
This is anime of the year, not anime of the year contender, but anime of the season contender for me as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just watched the first episode just because it was today before recording. I didn't have time to do more.
Mm-hmm.
But oh my god, it was hilarious. I laughed out loud multiple times in that one episode.
You know, so far I've seen 3 episodes, and actually no, 2 or 3. Shit, I forgot. Well, in any case, the episodes I've seen beyond the first episode were very similar, so you get it.
Okay.
And so, the premise is that this guy, he got hit by a truck in like 2000. And
Yes.
in 2000, because it's 2017 in this anime, and he just came back from his coma, and in the 17 years that he's been in a coma, he was isekai'd to another world, and he had a fun isekai adventure, and then came back, and has actually retained his magical abilities in our world.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also like, how should I say this? He's also, he doesn't know anything about the real world from before 2000. So, like, the first thing that he asks is, who's winning the console race? I bet Sega's just killing the game right now.
Right. It's like, Sega gave up on making console a long time ago.
Yeah.
In 99,
the
Dreamcast.
Yeah.
I love, like, the first opening scene of the show is the main character, like, walking into the hospital, and like, 17 years ago, my uncle was hit by a truck and went into a coma. Like, yesterday, he woke up. He has gone insane.
Because he starts speaking the isekai language.
Like, fantasy language, yeah.
Yeah. And this uncle guy, he has not aged past 17 at all, like, even mentally. So one of the main hooks of this anime is that he'll talk about the stuff that he did in his isekai world, but he doesn't understand it because he doesn't know the isekai trends. He doesn't even know modern anime trends, and he's just completely dense.
Right.
So in this,
he describes the very archetypal isekai, like, tsundere rescue, where he saves the girl and then she's a bitch to him but follows him around anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, it was so annoying. Eventually I just had to, like, ditch her in some town. And the nephew's like, tsunderes didn't become popular until around 2004. 4 years after he went into the coma.
Yeah.
So he's just not genre savvy enough to pick up on, like, what's happening in the isekai.
No, and he doesn't understand anything because it's hard for him to do anything in this world because he's just so ugly that everyone is afraid of him.
Right.
He looks awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like,
that was one of the things I laughed out loud at the first time when I think, like, the nephew asked him, like, what is the other world like, or something like that, and he responds, everybody in the other world is so hot. But then he continues, they thought I was hideous in comparison. They hunted me as some sort of orc variant.
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of one of the other guys in prison school. There's a long-haired guy. Looks almost exactly like him.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He looks like the super nerd in old Pokemon games.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
One of my favorite jokes. There's a lot of my favorite jokes that I'll probably explain, but one of them is in one of the past the first episode. But he saves this mother and her children from being attacked by like goblins or something, and so yeah, he does that. He does that for them, and then the mother and children, they look up at him, and again he's so horrifying looking that they just get scared again. But the mother realizes what she has to do. She tearfully stands up and takes his hand and offers herself up to him, while the children sneak away mischievously. And then he's like, yeah, and then I was attacked by these mysterious goblins. I didn't see them at all. And he's, showing his nephew the stuff that he's doing because he can just do that. And the nephew, again, understands everything that's happening. He's like, he's just he feels so sorry. He can't even bring him to understand what actually happened.
Let's pan out on the memory to show where those goblins came from.
He's like, yeah,
he's like, no, we don't. I don't think it's necessary. Let's not focus on this.
Yeah,
I feel like I should give this a shot.
Oh, yeah. It's really good.
It's so funny. I'll say my one thing that turns me off of this show is that they go out of their way sometimes to just make him like really gross. And I don't think that's necessary. And it's little things too, like when he's eating food, just very loudly having him chewing. It's just unpleasant.
I don't know. I feel like that adds to him. Makes him more believable that the Isekai people would not like him.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, and I get why it's there, but also like I don't want to hear a guy chewing in my earphones.
I thought you liked ASMR.
I understand. Yeah. And another one of my favorite jokes is when he talks about Eva. He's like, yeah, back in the day I watched Neon Genesis Evangelion, and nephew's like, wait, you saw Eva? And he's like, everyone saw Eva. And he says, and the nephew has this realization. He's like, oh my god, wait, he knows about Eva, so he might know that Asuka's a tsundere. And then he goes, did you know that Asuka has a crush on Kaji? And he's just, no! I love the nephew's reactions that are both extremely over the top and also completely silent. Like he's just so horrified that he just sullenly walks away. He's like, I'm just gonna make some noodles.
Did the next few episodes reveal a little more about what the nephew's relationship with anime and nerd stuff is? Because it felt in the first one like he's aware of isekai tropes, but also he's just like he is a normal guy. Like he's not a nerd himself.
I don't think it did. No, I think he just has a base knowledge of stuff.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, but he's definitely like not on the same nerd level as the uncle is.
No.
The uncle is always like talking about like video games from his childhood.
Yeah.
And the nephew's like, why is this so important to him?
Yeah. Because again, he hasn't aged past 17, so
right.
There's a scene where he goes outside and causes a literal storm because he's so mad about an old reader magazine from 1997 that ranked the best Sega Saturn games, and his favorite game was like 190th or something. And he's like, yeah. How dare you! This game revolutionized the genre! It was the masterpiece!
I think it was really funny on two levels when he says like, a person who chooses Sega consoles can never live a normal life. And then after that, it does like flash up on screen like, this is a personal opinion or something like that. But also, I'm definitely thinking back to being a child and like, yeah, the people who were like really into Sega, they were the weird kids.
Those Sonic fans.
Well, I had a Sega, but I didn't choose it. We bought it. My parents bought it used. I was like, oh boy, there's a bit Toy Story game here.
But yeah, this anime, it's genuinely really good. You know, it's like I have an adage that just says 1 out of 100 isekai. For every 100 isekai, one of them will do something actually different and unique and fun. And this is the one. This is actually the one isekai that you get like every 2 years that adds a different flavor of meta humor.
Yeah, this might be small spoilers insofar as a comedy can have spoilers, but do the people from his life in the fantasy world start showing up in the real world?
No, but I would not be surprised if that's where it ended up leading.
Because it feels like, Devil is a Part-Timer is also airing this season, and that's all about more people from the fantasy world slowly trickle into the real world. And that's like the whole concept of these sorts of things. So that's where I assume it's going to go. But if it doesn't, I think that would be really interesting too.
I feel like that would be the overall end game where like the guy is finally able to realize the elf girl liked him and he somehow is able to connect with her in one of the worlds to, reciprocate her true feelings or something like that. I feel like that might be where it leads, but other than that, I'm not entirely sure where the show is going, and I guess that's the one thing holding it back from loving it more. It's like, I really love it so far, but it has also mostly just been the guy talking about stuff he did in the isekai world and getting mad or very passionate about Sega Saturn.
Uh-huh.
So there is
I could see that getting old if it doesn't start going in some sort of direction.
Yeah, although where I left off, the nephew, his female high school friend, who also likes him, and he doesn't understand that because he's just a normal guy. She has shown up, so there is a new character added to the dynamic at least.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a really good one. That I would say that I'm surprised, but actually when I did see this when I previewed it, I'm like, this one might be good. Probably because it doesn't have a super long title.
I looked at the premise and especially the poster, and I was like, this is going to be garbage. I thought it was going to be so bad. But I am happy to be very wrong.
Also, another small note is that the people making it's a studio called Atelier Pont Dark. They have no previous credentials, and that's because this is a lot of the people that worked on the first season of Re:Zero. Basically, It's like the staff of Re:Zero, they ended up branching off into either this studio or Studio Bind, who's doing Mushoku Tensei.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to those guys and why season 2 probably wasn't as good. But, I mean, I'm not an expert.
One more note on Isekai Ojisan. I also love this opening. Like most of the OP is done in like a early 2000s pixel art style, which I think is so good. Such a correct choice.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. Is it like PS1 graphics?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well, now, for a while, we've got shows that only one of us has seen each of. So, Panic, you get to talk about one of the 15 different series that the Takagi-san author is making. It's called When Will Ayumu Make His Move?
Have none of you seen it?
No.
No.
Panic, I'm not watching anything that this guy has written. Just no.
Why not?
Because it looks like Takagi-san, and I don't like Takagi-san.
But it's like Takagi-san, but in reverse.
No.
It is Shoki Club. She has a Shoki Club, and she's the senpai of it. What is her name? Ayumu is the guy. She is...
Urushi is her name.
Yes.
Yaotome Urushi.
I feel like they never say that. He just calls her senpai. Yeah, she runs a Shoki Club, and this guy, Ayumu Tanaka, has joined it, and they have a crush on each other, And it's kind of like a Kaguya kind of thing where they won't, like, they want the other to admit it. She wants him to admit it. And he is like, I'm going to admit it, but only when I can beat her in shogi. And I want no handicaps or handouts or anything. So, like, one time she lets him win and he almost confesses and, like, catches himself and, like, no, I haven't earned it. But he is extremely, like, deadpan, straightforward. Like, it's no secret that he's in love with her. So yeah, it's very much she tries to tease him, because of course, and he's too smart. He's too powerful, and he reverses it, and she ends up being the one flustered. That's very much the comedy dynamic of it. Is that he just stonewalls her.
Okay.
Okay.
That's kind of it. And she makes a lot of really good faces.
How would you put it on, like, the level of high school romances in terms of quality?
Well, it's a middle school romance.
Oh, what, you know?
I don't know. I mean,
remember, it's a Takagi-san author. This guy cannot draw a character over the age of 12.
and a
yes,
forehead
even
smaller
in the adult spin-off, adult Takagi is just young Takagi, but stretched.
But
well, that's also, I only just recently realized this. The adult Takagi manga is not by the same guy.
I've told you
Really?
this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's made by someone else.
Oh.
It's made by someone else, and it
Okay.
has way more chapters than the original somehow.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like this is more of a... It's still very early, too. It's more comedy than it's more calm than it's rom. But it definitely dips into the rom here and there. I mean, I would have to see it finished to know where it ranks, but...
How would you compare it to Takagi-san?
I think it's better than Takagi's. I was never huge on the Takagi setup, punchline, same thing every episode. I don't know.
The structure.
I was never really big on the Takagi structure.
So I guess this doesn't have a specific structure like Takagi, where it's not just like, all right, these two characters are going to do this specific thing, and then it ends in a certain way.
No, it's not always the same. Like, he takes some falls too. Like, they're clearly in love with each other, and they both know it. So, like, they end up embarrassing each other. But her more so. She's very expressive in her embarrassment. Whereas he's just like, he looks like a very tall Nishikata, except he has like one expression and it's just like stonewall. Nothing. He gives nothing away.
Is he like the guy in a Haran-san? He kind of looks like him.
The guy in a Haran-san is also very stonewall, but he's very... But not on the inside, right? He's like, he jumps to conclusions at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not this guy. Like, this guy walks in and is like, oh, where is she? Like, we cut to her hiding in some boxes, waiting to scare him, just to pull a prank. And we see him, like, calmly sit down and be, why the fuck is Senpai hiding in those boxes? Oh, it's to scare me. Okay, I'm gonna act so scared when she comes out. And then he just like...
Okay, that's fun.
Yeah. And then he just overdoes it because he's like a very, very stiffly behaving weirdo. So she jumps out and he just overreacts, like screams way too loud, and she's caught off guard. That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like he sees like through everything she does.
Okay.
Nice.
And then she makes a cat face, and it's very cute. And that's it.
There you go. She makes a face, and then it's cute.
She makes a face, and it's cute.
All right. Well, you've got the other show as well.
Speaking of, almost the exact same structure
of Takagi-san. However, it's about a dark-skinned, big-titted maid girl.
Yeah.
And
a small German boy.
a small little Shota. The maid I hired recently is mysterious, is the title of this one.
I think it's actually supposed to be suspicious. Because like the entire thing is that he will Okay. Let me paint a picture. I forget what happens to his parents, but they're not around anymore. So this maid shows up.
They died in a fire.
Did they?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I mean, it's possible, honestly. Like, something happened, and he's all alone in the house, in the big house. Somehow, this maid catches wind of it. Like, there's some backstory there that I'm not super clear on. I read the manga. I don't think it's even been mentioned fully there. She has some history with the family for some reason. Shows up one day and is like, I'm here to take care of you in the house because I'm a maid. And he's like, obviously, like, that's suspicious. Why the fuck would a stranger just come here and do all this for free? But she does. So, like, he stalks her around the house, like, trying to catch her doing something weird because it's weird that she's there. So, for example, one night he catches her reading a book in the library, a big, important-looking book. And the next morning, he's like, I saw you reading a book in the library. Are you a sorcerer? And she cannot resist teasing. Like that, she teases and is like, yes, that's right. And in fact, I made a love potion and I put it in your food. And he goes, so that's why it's so delicious. It's the best thing I've ever tasted. And that's why I can't stop looking at you. You're so beautiful. And then she like blushes and like, oh shit, this backfired. God damn. Oh no.
Wow.
Okay, that's cute.
So instead of like, so similarly to Ayumu, is that what it's called? Yeah, Ayumu.
Yes.
Like he stonewalls her teasing, but instead of stonewalling, it's just like ricochet, complete backfire.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, it's fun. I don't know what else to say. Like she's hot as fuck.
Yeah, it sounds like a good time.
And it's like, it's cute. Because
what's the actual name of the show? We just listed it.
My recently hired maid is
says
suspicious.
Oh, it is actually called Sus Maid. Okay.
Yeah, I call it Sus Maid. Because he'll just go around trying to catch her doing something.
Oh, it's this chick. Yes.
Yeah.
This is where all the art I've seen of her came from.
Yes. Very much.
Yeah, this is a good character design.
It's just Jahi-sama as a maid. It's the same. Yeah. It's the same fucking character.
No, you're right. I take back everything I said.
No, Jahi-sama is also good design. No.
You know, it's so funny. Who was it in our Discord? Someone said in our Discord, because we posted the trailer for this anime, and they're like, "Huh, this reminds me a lot of Jahi-sama. It's probably by the same mangaka." And I looked it up,
what do you know?
wait, I didn't know that.
This manga, actually, now that I think about it, the maid has like really piercing purple eyes. And I remember this manga kind of caught on r/manga because in the manga, the only colored part is her eyes.
Yeah, I just saw that. Just like Googling.
It's like
images.
A really cool.
The manga's in black and white, but her eyes are colored.
Yeah, it's like it's like a sick stylistic choice.
That's cool. I like.
It's
that.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yo, post that. I want to see this.
It looks crazy good.
I don't know what Google is. I don't know how to use a computer.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just...
Also, if you want to talk about a more funny crossovers, same director as Ayumu-san.
Oh, another funny crossover. No, wait, that's not this. That's in
also same directors as Jahi-sama, if that wasn't obvious enough.
Yes. Another crossover we forgot to mention is Ayumu. They go to an aquarium and you see the characters from Lycoris Recoil.
What?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Because they go to an aquarium at some point, and it's apparently the same one. I don't know how those two. I don't know if it's the same studio making them, but
yeah, A1 is making both of them.
Yeah.
Wait, actually, no, they're not. No, they are fucking. Silverlink is making Ayumu, and A1 is making Lycoris. How the fuck did they work that out?
I don't know.
That's really funny.
It's crazy, but it's like they just 2 separate occasions. Both of the main Lycoris girls show up in the background.
That's so weird. I'm gonna have to look into this. Like, I'm so fascinated by this now. There has to be someone.
No, wait, it wasn't Ayumu. It was the fucking Mama. It's the XGF. Is my stepsister's show.
That's also by a completely different studio.
Yeah, it's that
and group of people.
Yeah. Lycoris Recoil shows up in the XGF show. That's what it is.
But still
really
crazy.
Yeah, I don't know who knows who. How the fuck they worked that out?
Well, maybe, speaking of weird crossovers, this next one is Yurei Deco. This is by Sinris, and you've seen this.
It's by Sinris?
It's not by...
Created
it's not
by
Studio Sinris.
Yeah, despite how much I show for them, I'm not actually on the payroll of Science Saru. Actually, though, I think this is the first Science Saru show I've ever watched where I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it, like... Look, what makes Science Saru so unique and why I love them so much is that everything they do just looks totally different from anything they've done before and totally different from anything else you've ever seen in anime. And when you get up into the multiple hundreds watched on Mal, a part of you, and I think this is more or less true for everybody, starts just wanting to see things that are different.
Yeah.
The vast majority of anime that come out, you can put really easily into like one of 5 buckets. And that's not to say that they're all the same in quality, but there's not a lot of difference in presentation or subject matter. And Science Saru is and remains very good at mixing things up and delivering something you've never seen before. That said, Yurei Deco is just fine. It's the concept of it is... Did you watch Black Mirror, Moz?
No.
Okay. There's this one Black Mirror episode that probably people in the audience will know, where it's like a cautionary tale about social media, where like someone's social credit is determined by like how many likes they get, basically. And Yurei Deco is kind of like that, where everything is controlled by this like meta currency called love, which you like get love by having like, when you have a positive interaction with someone, they'll like give you some love. But that's combined with like an augmented reality dystopia, sort of. So like everybody in this society uses these like AR glasses that are like surgically implanted into their eyes. So you can like create like an avatar for yourself that's presented to the world like that. And like everything you see out in the world around you in the city has like this layer of digitally added presentation to it and everything. So it's kind of like a light dystopia about this concept, and like glitches in this system and people who are like left behind by this system. Like the main character eventually ends up joining up with this group of people who are referred to as ghosts, or the Yurei in the title, who like their birth and existence was not registered with the system, so they like don't exist within the like virtual reality layer that's overlaid upon everything else. So it's an interesting concept, and it looks really unique and cool, but the story is just not that interesting. It hasn't really gone anywhere yet. They're like chasing down this glitch called Phantom Zero, which like makes everyone's like accumulated love count go down. Main character's cute. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. It's a little boring, which is disappointing.
Is there a reason why everyone is named after Mark Twain characters?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
The city that they live in is called Tom Sawyer. I have no idea why.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's interesting to hear. I would like to check it out later. Probably will. Probably will.
I'm going to keep watching it just to say I did.
Yeah.
I don't think you're missing much, though, honestly. Disappointing to say.
All right. Panic, are you here? Are you alive?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I knew you had to step out for a second. Well, because you're up next again, you've got Vermeil in gold.
Another, well, it's not as Shota as the sus Maid one, but kinda. He's shorter than the rest of the class. Anyway, it is a magic school. It is Hogwarts, but everybody has a familiar. You have to have a familiar. Main character does not have a familiar, and if he doesn't get one quick, he's going to be thrown out of school because they have to have one. he gets his hands on something. I forget what, like a scroll or a forbidden book or whatever, and just summons like this really powerful demon who happens to also be a succubus, I think. Who looks like a human. A big titty Onesan human, obviously. Why not? And she does the usual, "Thank you for summoning me. I will grant you any wish." Obviously being like, you wish to fuck me, right? "No, be my familiar." And it's just like, oh, okay, interesting, cool. I guess I will be your familiar. And everyone is like, how the fuck did you get a human woman to be your familiar? Because they
are all the other familiars just like
creatures,
small animals.
Yes, little animals, living plants or something. The really cool kids at school is like the elite. They all have dragons. They're called the Dragon Riders, and they're all so magically strong that they have managed to make a dragon their familiar, and that's like a status symbol. That's a whole thing of the elite being fucking assholes because they have dragons. Yeah, so he shows up with what just looks like a human woman. And they can't tell anyone that she's a demon, because that's like taboo. So, it's like, hey, I managed to make this human woman my familiar.
Okay.
And she's like a super powerful demon in reality. So, like, together, he gets a big mana boost. They go on adventures. They have a lot of magical fun. And then at night, they do mana transfer Fate style. Because, of course.
Is it like it looks like a magic school battle harem?
Kinda.
Is it one of those?
I mean, yeah, I would say it's in the spirit of that. I don't know how much of a harem he's gonna get. At this point, there's only, like, the familiar lady who's, like, a succubus, so she's in love with everybody. But she seems to have taken an interest in him. And then there's, like, one classmate who keeps, like, spying on him, being like, what the fuck are they up to? She's this big titty human woman. I know she's up to something. What the fuck are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that at the moment, there's only one other interested party. Vermeil, the demon, gets naked a lot. It's obvious. It's of course censored. It is implied, I feel, that they do more than just kiss, but they don't show it. Like, they'll just fade to black, and they'll be the day after, and she looks very satisfied. I'm like, I never know. I never know with these things. If that means they did it, or if they just like, oh, that was some rough cuddling, and then it cuts to black and they just stopped and went to sleep. I don't know. Right. They don't say it. They don't say it. But if the implication is anything to go by, then yeah, they have done a lot of different things. Probably.
Okay. It's really old, but I feel like there's a much better version of this anime that already exists.
Yeah?
It's called Seikon no Quasar.
Oh, that's on my watch list.
I've heard that name.
That's the one where they get power by sucking on titties.
Yes. I can't believe you haven't seen that.
No, I can't either.
That's nutcast material, honestly.
Yeah, if they made a new season, then...
That will never happen, unfortunately.
Well, one thing that
kind of too good for this world.
Oh, this sure is a horny show from like 15 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, it looks very old.
Complete with the extremely dated art.
Yes. It's kind of... I feel like it must be something old or like popular light novel or manga, because it has 114,000 members on Mal, and I've never once heard about it. It's like it has this big old fan base, maybe. I don't know.
Wait, which one are we talking about?
Vermeil.
Oh, Vermeil. Yeah.
Let's talk about Vermeil.
I don't know. I think it just got this way through marketing or something.
It must be, because the manga is from 2018.
Some shows just get popular for no reason.
The manga is just from 2018, so yeah. Must just gotten popular somehow.
It's Nyx shilling Millie all the time, because Millie's doing the ED. It's Nyx's fault. We're going to blame Nyx for getting popular.
The ED has like some
anything else?
ReZero kind of vibes to it. No. It's kind of just okay. So far. It's really nothing special whatsoever.
Good to hear. All right, this one is a show from last season that has continued on. So, Cinerus, talk about Ayashii.
All right, I talked about Ayashii on the last impressions, and I'm here to offer a formal apology because I said it was not very good on the last one, and actually this show's really good. I think I will stand by my initial assessment of it and say that it took a little while to get good, but it has become one of the best sports anime that I've watched, I will say. Top 5. Probably not top 3, but top 5. I think it's doing really interesting things with the main character, who initially just seemed like your kind of generic sports boy hothead. It's really like forcing him to evolve in interesting ways, like putting challenges in front of him that I literally don't think I've ever seen in a sport anime before.
Like what?
Like, okay, Ayashii spoilers real quick. So he's like, he's a forward, he's like obsessed with scoring. He doesn't care about the rest of his team. That's how he's introduced.
Yeah.
It is eventually revealed that, like, after he gets picked up by like the pro team, he's like in the youth like development league for a pro team, and he's like struggling. He's way behind all of his teammates. Like, everyone doesn't understand how he isn't getting cut, but like one of the coaches keeps sticking up for him, even though he's like struggling to pick up all of these skills that are necessary for his position. It's eventually revealed that coach, ever since he scouted him, has never intended to have him as a forward. He knows that what this kid's skills actually lend him to is being a defender, but he's like, okay, we'll bring him on as a forward because if I told him I wanted him to play defense, he'd never come. And then we'll let him play as a forward a bit to like make him struggle and see that he kind of sucks at it. And then I'll tell him, okay, you have to switch to a defender or you're off the team. And now I'm a couple episodes behind, but where I left off, it was very much like him struggling to be like, okay, how much do I love soccer? How much is like my identity tied up in being the guy who scores all the time? And I think that that's a really cool and interesting way to kind of confront this sort of archetypal sports character.
That is cool. All right. My prediction of this anime being something like Run with the Wind, where it kind of slowly builds up and gets more hype as it goes along and people start noticing and respecting it more, I feel like that's holding up pretty well.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. All right, cool. I was actually a little hesitant to pick this up, even though I had it on my plan to watch from last season. And I just never got around to it because I'm just like, I don't know. I don't really hear anyone talking about it all that much. Maybe it's just like a generic sports anime or whatever. But no, hearing that it's actually getting really good, yeah, sounds interesting.
And to be clear again, this is Ayashii, which means blue legs. It's not blue lock, and it's not blue box. Those are the other two. Those are both soccer shows too, right?
Yeah.
Yes, there are 3 soccer series that are like publishing manga right now that all have blue in their name. This is Blue Legs.
The blue saga, the blue trilogy.
Yes.
What order do you watch them in?
Blue Cinematic Universe, along with Blue Period, Blue Exorcist, Grand Blue, anime that usually don't have good adaptations.
Perfect
Blue
Blue
in
yes.
the name.
It's the finale.
Yeah, that's the ultimate blue anime. All right, good to hear. Okay, Panic, you're up again.
God damn it.
A show that I am not going to touch at all because the name of it is stupid enough. It's My Stepmom's Daughter is My Ex.
Yeah, which is a convoluted way of saying it's Domikano. It's domestic girlfriend. So this boy and this girl, they used to date. Well, and Domikano is like a one-time thing and they never planned to see each other again. These were classmates and they dated. And they broke up. And then some time later, their parents get married. And now they have to live together. Isn't that awkward? Isn't that kooky?
I don't even think it's all that weird or unusual. Just like, get over yourselves, but they're anime characters, so they have to be all weird about
well,
it.
The crutch of this quote unquote romance thing, because it is being treated like a romance, is that they're like they're trying to force some kind of sibling rivalry kind of relationship thing, like be done with their past, but they still kind of have feelings for each other. So they make this game where if one of them does something that is unsibling like, then the other one gets to do a punishment. Like, oh wait, that's not it. Because they're born on the same day, almost the exact same time. I don't know if it's the exact same time, but they disagree with who's the oldest. So they're like, you have to call me big brother. No, you have to call me big sister. And so they make a rule that if you do something unsibling-like, then the punishment is that you have to call the other one big whatever for the next day.
Big dickus.
But they keep doing unsibling-like things. Like, for some reason, they find a piece of each other's underwear because they're sharing a house now. So she finds his boxers and he finds her bra. And they go to trade them back, and they're like, what did you do with that? And what did you do with that? Oh, the punishment is that we get to choose one thing for the other to do. And his thing is like, go on a date with me. Which then turns out, like, because that's obviously not a sibling-like thing to do. That's like, what are you doing, bro? But it's because there's a girl in their class who is in love with the main girl. So she's like, all right, brother man, I'm gonna marry you so that I can live with her. So he concocts a plan with another friend in class of going on a date with the sister to show the girl who's in love with the sister that the sister still has feelings for him. I forget. That's when they go into the aquarium and you see the Lycoris characters.
This sounds like a very convoluted setup for
what?
A stupid payoff.
Yes.
I mean, that's...
yeah, I guess that's the whole show, right?
I feel like there's a genre of this, like convoluted
They're
rom-com.
making it more difficult than it needs to be. And overthinking everything. And, like, the girl has a lot of feelings for the guy. The guy has some for the girl, I feel. And they're just fucking get it over with. Jesus Christ. But it's also like now they live together. Their parents are married. They're just siblings now. They can't do anything about that. It says a lot about society, really.
Thinking about how convoluted rom-com stories is becoming, it feels like it's really becoming a trend, because we got Domestic Girlfriend, we got a couple of Kakus, we got this show. It seems like this is really being a thing, and for that reason, I think many people owe an apology to Fuka, which is the ultimate convoluted rom-com. It was a masterpiece. I fucking love Fuka.
What was the complicated about that?
Okay,
I watched it, but I forgot.
Oh, that's because the anime adaptation is legendary for not branching off in the way the manga does.
I know about this.
Yes. So, spoilers for Fuka, not that anyone cares, but in the manga, the girl Fuka gets hit by a truck and fucking dies. Permanently. In like 1/3 of the way into the manga, and then other girls show up also named Fuka, and the story continues with them, or something like that. I didn't actually read it.
Cooler Fuka.
But yeah, it just goes like off the rails in many ways. And then the anime is legendary because it just completely skips the truck-kun scene entirely. It's the literal truck-kun series.
No, I remember. They specifically do the truck-kun, but it stops and doesn't hit her.
Yeah, it doesn't hit her.
They're very obvious about, this is where it should have happened. Moving on.
Yeah. It's...
I just went on the Mal page for the Fuka manga to go completely off topic. I was looking at the other Fuka who gets introduced later, and I clicked the spoiler on her character page. It is her name is Fuka Aoi. It is later revealed that Aoi's father was the one who drove the truck that killed Fuka.
It's fucking Star Wars. Everyone's related. God damn it.
Koji Seo is a fucking genius author, and he must be respected.
She almost gets killed by a truck too, but the boy saves her from death.
Who drives that truck?
I don't know.
The original Fuka's father?
Fuka's great. Fuka's an icon.
Anyway.
Fantastic series.
If anyone's curious about this ex-girlfriend, sister, whatever show, just watch Motokano. It's way better.
That does sound right. People also owe apologies to Domekano. They treated that harshly.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of legendary manga that have turned out to have horrible adaptations that did not go the way anybody wanted, expected, or hoped, we have a long-awaited, highly anticipated adaptation of a cult favorite, Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. Cinerus, how was Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer's anime?
Well, I only watched one episode again, and it was not very good. Which is sad, because this is like, my best friend is one of the people who read Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer like 12 years ago, and was like, please, an adaptation, something, for years and years and years. And it never happened until now, and the production quality on it is just god-awful. It's so atrocious. I don't know. I think I'm going to try to continue watching it because, look, this is one of those shows that people, it's kind of fallen off the radar over time, but people back in the early 2010s loved this series.
Yes.
It was like one of the most requested adaptations ever.
Yeah.
And there's got to be something to that. So I'm going to watch it. I'm going to see if I can find out what.
I would rather just read the manga. That's what I'm going to do.
It's so weird.
Valid.
When it got announced, I saw a bunch of...
Okay, well, when you put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Okay, maybe I'll do that. I'll consume it in some way.
It's not even a long manga. It's 65 chapters, I assume, monthly.
I feel like it's kind of got the same, not to say that it's the same quality wise, but same kind of talk about level as Citrus, where it got announced and all the manga readers were like, oh man, it's the best. And then the anime comes out and everybody's like eerily quiet. I haven't heard any talk about it after the anime started.
That's just because it looks so awful. Like the moment we got trailers for it, it's like,
oh no.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the anime currently is below a 6 on Mal.
The Bisquick Hammer.
The manga is an 8.4.
Damn.
Like, this is one of the things I have seen forever. People talking about how it's like one of
hate to see
the all-time greats.
Who's next? Studio Nas. Lil Nas. What the fuck?
Lil Nas X. Yeah,
so,
just a trash studio, trash team overall. They basically were just getting people hyped because, I don't know, someone thought they could make money by, cashing in on this adaptation that people have been asking for, and then just giving it to nobody.
They made Bisco.
They made ID Invaded. That was a good show.
Well, ID Invaded was a unique case where they just happened to get certain people who can make good anime.
Okay. But yeah, those are the only two things on their list that are good.
What about Hajime saying no
Did people like Captain Tsubasa?
What?
Did people like the Captain Tsubasa adaptation?
I don't know. That was David Production, though.
Was it? Oh, yeah. Why is it on here? Oh, they listed as a producer. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So.
Yep.
So there you go.
So Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer.
Too bad.
A tragedy. But what you gonna do?
What a wonderful medium.
Yep.
Biscuits.
Well, if you want an anime that's made by people who actually respect its fans, it's made by people who give a shit, they're passionate about what they do, and they just love it. They put their heart and soul into it, and it really shows. I have a series for you.
Overlord
it's a series
season.
that... Shut the fuck up. It's a series that at one point people made fun of me for liking, because when the first season of this anime came out, it was not very popular. It was not liked much or really at all, but I was like, this one's great. This anime is great. It wasn't even like a favorite, but I did really like it. And now, 4 years later, we are on the 3rd season of Jashin-chan Dropkick. Or Dropkick on My Devil, or Drop Dev, or Smart Alec Devil. It's taken on a lot of different names. It's a very interesting and, in many ways, unique series because, like I said, it's made by people who genuinely really love this series and like what they're doing and what they're making. And they have like the most loving relationship with their fans. This anime, it lives off of its own hype. Because back when the first season came out, like I said, not a lot of people watched it or even liked it. But the production company said that like in a few months, we're going to have this live festival for the anime, and we're going to count all of the Blu-rays that have been sold. If we sell 2,000 Blu-rays by the time we do this event, we'll do a second season. And so that event came around a few months later, and they announced it was like 2,005 copies sold. It was like right exactly on the number, and they're like, all right, season 2 confirmed.
Moss sitting there looking at his 5 copies like, yes.
Yeah. And yeah, they just did that. And then they pretty much did the same thing for season 3, where they opened a Kickstarter. And it was like, all right, if we get the Kickstarter goal for this, we'll do a season 3. And then it happened again. And it's just amazing because you always see all these anime that, you know, everyone's always asking like, oh, season 2, when? And then it never happens, or it doesn't happen for an extremely long time. Imagine if they were just upfront and told you that we'll do season 2 if you just do this for us, or something like that. That's Jashin-chan Dropkick.
Would you make
and as a result
for $1 trillion?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Honestly, I love that about it. I feel like I'm going to watch it someday because I love that energy. And I love that for you, Maz.
Thank you. And because of its, you know, because of its niche status and its I guess cult-like following, it's become a series that is very insular with its own presentation. It's a series that makes lots of meta commentary and jokes, just makes fun of itself a lot.
I do always love a series that like references itself.
It's weird because it's never consistent. Like sometimes it just plays out like a normal slice of life anime series, but then sometimes they'll just randomly announce that they're part of an anime. And the first scene of this new season is every single character was animated in a completely different art style. So like the main girl, Yurei, was animated like she's a gothic Victorian painting. And then another girl shows up and she's like an Inuyasha character. And then another one shows up and she's from a key visual novel. And it's just like all of them stacking on top of each other. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on? And it's like, yeah, well, let's start season 3 of Jashin-chan Dropkick. And it is a lot to wrap your head around.
It's not adapted from anything, right? It's original.
It's a manga.
Oh, it is? Okay.
It's a manga adaptation. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. What the series really is about on a base level is this Chunibyo goth chick named Yurei accidentally summoned a devil who's just Gabriel from Gabriel Dropout, but with Toru's tail from Maid Dragon. And she's just a total, complete, unlikable piece of shit who's always causing trouble for everybody. So Yurei just finds ways to brutally murder her every single day. And that's the series.
Amazing.
It's my favorite. It's so great. It's so Mazcore. Like, it takes slapstick humor to such an extreme degree where it like basically becomes a gore anime. But again, Yurei is she's so great. She's so cool. She's just awesome. And I love her, and I love watching her, and it's really well presented. The animation, the production, it's so good, even though it's made by a small group of people who have not done a whole lot of anything else. But again, it's just made by people who really love it and are really passionate about what they're making. And it's awesome. I just have such a deep respect and appreciation for this series because of what it offers to the entire world.
I'm seeing that Hatsune Miku is in it.
Yeah,
Yes.
She just exists. She's only in. She this is a new thing. She was not in the past seasons, but yeah, she's just a character that exists. She'll like be walking around in the neighborhood, and she's just there.
She gets robbed.
I don't know why.
By a vicious demon.
Okay.
What?
She gets robbed by the vicious demon.
Yeah, Jashin steals her green onion because they were playing a game where, I don't know, she had to steal something that was like worth 100 yen or something, and then afterwards Hatsune Miku in her auto-tune Vocaloid voice is like, haha, it actually cost 95 yen.
So she made a profit because she pays for it. She made 10 yen.
Yeah, Jashin-chan Dropkick, it's just, it's a total blast. I love it. I also completely get why some people wouldn't like it, because, again, it's just like so weird and just absurd a lot of the times, but I'm so into it.
All right.
Yeah, so now that I had my 5 minutes of fun, time to talk about the worst show ever.
The best show in the world.
Panic, you are responsible for something that has ruined my life for 7 years now. It's Danmachi season 4.
How am I responsible for this? I pirate it just like everyone else. I don't give them anything. Anyway, 4th season of Danmachi. I mean, it's Danmachi. I don't know what you want me to say.
I don't even know.
They're going on an adventure. Belle is level 4 after everything that happened in season 3. Something that happened. I'm trying to remember what happened in 2 and 3. Like, I remember the events, but not the order. Because it's like, there's this big, like, internal fight between all the god houses. Like, their familias fight. And that somehow ends up with the Hestia familia in a really, really fucking big mansion. Way too big for them, because they're only like 5 people. This gigantic mansion, because that's the mansion of the guy who started the whole fight, and they end up winning, so they have the house now. Big base of operations. They free this one fox girl at some point. That season fucking sucked. I hate that. That was so boring. I hate her. She's very cute, but she's bad. And she was like, they end up defeating another god. It's, who's the Amazon? She's in, the one who, there's a Rin face in Fate, who's like the goddess of beauty.
Kama?
No,
that's a Sakura face. Ishtar,
yes. They defeat Ishtar. And like, shut down that entire familia. And that was a really powerful familia, because they basically ran the red light district, and that's how they got all the money. So they defeat the horny and take this fox girl back, and she's important because she has the power to temporarily boost your level by 1 or 2, which is insane in this universe. Then in season 3, they find, because the whole thing is that the dungeon is like this ever-descending pit of monsters that get stronger and stronger, and you kill the monsters, they come back, whatever. It's a video game. Except it's not. It's not even an isekai. Whoa! It's just fantasy with Dark Souls mechanics or whatever. They find this race of dungeon monsters that are sentient. Like, they don't attack them. They're not like raging monsters. They're people. So they have this other submission kind of thing of trying to free them so they can go to the surface. Because they're currently not allowed. Like, you can't take any monsters out of the dungeon. They'll kill you. It's crazy. That's a lot of what Season 3 was about. In Season 4, now Bell is level 4, which is a really big deal. He's fucking unstoppable at this point. And he's undergone a lot of character development in a way. Where in the first one, he's very naive and childlike and impressionable. Now he's kind of just like chatting it up. Like he's the leader and he takes charge and he makes plans and he's not super surprised by everything or flustered by anything anyone says to him. And so he's become cool guy and he's really strong. And now he has this whole...
It sounds like the series is actually like progressing.
Yes. And
like there's a lot that's actually happening.
There is a lot that's happening, and at the start of this season, everything is kind of reset back to, okay, everybody calm down, that was fucking crazy. Now we're just like back on the surface, everyone's here, we're gearing up and we're going on a classic gathering mission. We're going deeper than we've ever gone before to get some parts or whatever, and we're going back. And that's all they've done so far, because only 2 episodes out. So yeah. It's just classic like fantasy adventuring at this point. I'm sure it's gonna go to shit somehow because they're deeper down than they've ever been before. But right now it's just, I just enjoy seeing the logistics of adventuring. That's what I like about series like Dungeon Meshi or Goblin Slayer.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Overlord. We're gonna talk about in a second. It's like the planning and execution of different like strategies and preparations and stuff like that. That's what I love about this kind of stuff. And then Bell isn't as annoying anymore because he's kind of grown up. So it's nice. Wow. It's fun.
Miracles happen.
Miracles do happen.
Even though Hestia's way worse.
Hestia's still in it. She's still unbearable. Very loud.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
I do appreciate you just being like, yeah, Hestia still sucks.
Hestia sucks. She revolutionized the cosplay scene with the boob ribbon, but that's kind of it.
Yep.
What a laugh we all had.
All the other gods are just like smoke shows, though. They have Hephaestus, the like redhead eye patch lady. She's fucking
Was that
hot.
the one that had sex with everybody?
No, that's Freya. Her design honestly kind of fucking sucks. She's got this weird like poison ivy bodysuit of black tattoo looking thing.
That's the only thing I've allowed myself to remember.
And she's somehow, for some reason, she's like into... Well, there's like the whole implied thing of Belle being like the grandson of Zeus or something. They haven't touched on that at all since the beginning of season 1. And that's why Freya is like, ooh, he's special.
Danmachi Hephaestus is literally just a woman in a shirt.
Yeah, that's hot.
Okay.
She's got like scruffy red hair and an eye patch, dude.
Yeah, and then she's just wearing like jeans and a white shirt.
The power of a white dress shirt on a cute woman. I mean, I don't know what to say.
Okay.
All right, you do you, my dude.
And keep doing you because you got another one.
Got another one.
Yeah, you got Overlord season 4. Wow, season 4 of all these fantastic series that really deserve.
I mean, if you would just get into them,
Maz, you are the king of shows you love getting another season that they don't deserve. So,
hey, I just explained why Jashin-chan Dropkick absolutely deserves it.
Yeah, that one I'll give you.
Yeah, they're pulling themselves up by the bootstraps. Overlord has been gone for so long now. I checked. It's like season 3. That was like 4 years ago.
So I'll give you that.
But I feel like
although it's actually funny that Danmachi. Never mind. I'm wrong. I was about to say Danmachi and Overlord aired in the same season 7 years ago. No, that's not true. They were one season apart.
Right, I was about to say close though. Right? Yeah, I'm a known Overlord lover / apologist.
Depending on who you ask.
Depending on who you ask. I think
Reason being, you like skeletons, and also you think Albedo is hot.
I don't think Albedo is that hot. There's other hotter girls in it. I think she's fun, though. She's a fun archetype.
I'm actually surprised to hear you say that. Okay.
Like, she's decently hot. I feel like the maids are better.
give me your tier list of Overlord female characters from hottest to least hottest.
Well, you have all the maids. That's 7. No, that's too many to take forever.
There's 7 maids. Why?
Because there's one for each floor, I think.
Who needs?
Well, he has all these underlings.
I don't even want to know. Just tell what the fuck's going on in Overlord.
What is going on in Overlord? He is rising to power. He now has a country after the events of season 3. That's what I always say when people are like, "Is Overlord good?" And I'm like, "Yes, but give it time. It's a slow burn. It is not immediately he's the most evil, insane motherfucker in the world. It's a slow descent into going from episode 1 where he is overly helping this one woman he doesn't even know. It's like, oh, you had trouble with a goblin. Here's 3 like impossibly pure healing potions and a horn to summon a personal army and blah 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 blah. You get all this random shit just because I don't know what's going on anywhere. And by the end of season 3, he's capturing adventurers to run like human experiments and feed them to his monsters. And he goes from like confused office worker guy who is now stuck in this world and wants to help humanity to not really giving a shit about humanity and like just tricking people and being a real piece of shit. And then I guess I'm just spoiling the whole thing. Nah, there's a lot of stuff that happens. It's like how to conquer the world in 3 easy steps kind of thing. He doesn't just do it right away.
Is he just like straight up a villain now?
I would say so. Everyone's afraid of him. The entire world knows who he is, and everyone's plotting to stop him, but they're like doing this political thing of playing nice and yeah, so he's like making alliances, and there's like the famous we're being attacked by bad CG scene. It's like him summoning these like eldritch horrors to kill over 100,000 soldiers in one fell swoop. So the entire world knows he did that, and so they're scared of him. And he makes this like adventurer persona to just like go on adventures because he's still stuck in the game mentality kind of in the first season. So he wants to go on adventures and like get the lay of the land. That adventurer persona becomes like famous because he's so powerful and strong. So everyone loves him. He's like a folk hero. So by season 3, when he's like taking over this capital city and the country, everyone's calling for the adventurer to come save them, but it's him. So, so he shows up and fakes not being able to defeat Albedo. And like, if you promise to protect the citizens, I will let you take over this country. And they're like, okay, yes. So in reality, everyone's fucking scared of him, but he is treating people in this country decently nice.
Okay.
He's not being a tyrant.
Yeah.
He's just like, he wants to establish a kingdom on the off chance that any of his old guildmates are still in the world, and they will like catch word of him this way. He's just trying to ping all his friends. He's trying to ping everyone.
Interesting. Okay.
There's also like at the end of season 1, they keep referring back to this event. He fights the vampire girl, Xiaoqi of Bloodfallen. Best name in all of anime.
Yes, I remember.
The best name. He has to fight her because she's been like brainwashed, mind wiped by something, and they never really figure out what it was. But she's like just stuck somewhere. Like they can see where she is, but she's not moving. They go there and she starts attacking everything. So she's been like affected by some magic item that is on the level of it has to be another player from this game who did it. So this is all part of his plan to like find who did that and trying to find his friends.
Okay.
By flexing on everybody. Like this one, kind of funny. He is allied with I guess. I put the emphasis weird. With Nyx. Emperor L. Nyx.
Yes, I've seen that too.
Of the Bahareth Empire or whatever, like a neighboring country. And he was the one he did the kill 100,000 soldiers for, like, to make that alliance. But Nyx is scared shitless of him, and is like trying to collude with every other nation and trying to figure out how the fuck to get rid of him. But then during one of these talks, because they're having like classic Emperor Roman style, whatever, having these talks at a Colosseum, and he just shows up and it's like, "What up? I'm here to fight your strongest warrior." "Oh, hey, Nyx, what are you doing here?" And Nyx's first thought is, "How the fuck did he know I was talking to these religious nutjobs right now? He did this on purpose. Fuck." but Ainz is just like, "Oh, hey, Nyx is here. He's my friend. I should talk to him." The running gag is that everything works out for him, but he plans so little of it. Everyone is just like, "Oh, you're such a genius. You must have done that on purpose. What, Sasuga Ainz-sama." There is even a moment, because at the end...
I think I remember that as gags in Isekai Quartet.
Yeah. Because like something will work out, like an enemy will just surrender. And everyone is like, "Oh, you outmaneuvered them. You're such a brilliant strategist." And he's just like, "I don't know. What the fuck did I do?" So at the end of this most recent episode, the Empire, Nyx, is like, fuck, oh shit, I can't defeat him at all. Ainz, I surrender my nation as a vassal state to yours. And and Ainz is like, "Are you sure you should do that here? Maybe in writing?" And in his inner monologue, he's like, "The fuck is a vassal state?" Anyway, send me a letter. And he flies off. And so Nyx is like, "Why didn't he accept right away? There must be something in his plan. It must interfere with the plan he's already made, so he can't accept it right away." And then one of his guys is like, "Maybe he wasn't thinking anything." "Shut the fuck up! Of course he was! He's so smart! Of course there's a plan!" And he's just losing his shit. This poor Nyx guy. Yeah, anyway. I recommend it if people are into like the slow descent of nice office guy into tyrannical. Like by the end of season 3, definitely more evil.
If you like Attack on Titan.
Yes. No, I mean, if you're fine with it not being like instantly finding all the Dragon Balls episode 1, finding the One Piece 3 episodes in, like you're fine with it there being like a longer tale in a sense.
Are the Overlord light novels still going?
I think so.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I have considered getting into them. So
the art for them is extremely good.
Yes. And you see that art in the ED.
Yes.
So there will be content for a million seasons.
Yes. They could keep doing this forever. And that's why I want to get into the books, because there's so many little plot threads crossing each other at all times. It's very confusing, and there's stuff that I would like to know next episode that I don't know if they're going to cover in this season or in season 8. I have no fucking idea when they're going to come back to it, because I haven't read them. Like there's this whole there's this whole crime syndicate he took down in season 2, I think. And it's revealed now that some of them were kept and tortured and brainwashed or whatever. And so it's like, are the others going to come back? I don't know. Maybe.
Hearing you talk about office worker becoming a tyrant just makes me wonder, how the fuck do we not have a second season of Yojo Senki already? I'd rather watch
That's what I said on the Discord the other day, and Smurf pointed out kindly that season 2 has been announced.
It's been announced. It's just how do we not have it?
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, they make her one of the main characters of Isekai Quartet, and then they make a million seasons of that.
Well, fuck Isekai Quartet.
Sure.
a problem in of itself.
But, like, they make Shield Hero guy a side character, although he has now 4 times the content of Tanya.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I don't want to remember that exists, so thank you for doing that.
It'll stay.
Okay.
It'll never go away.
Let's talk about some sequels that I appreciate a little more. We've got Shadow's House, second season.
Shadow's House is good.
Shadow's House is solid. Lux doesn't remember too much of what happened last season. Lux vaguely remembers that the last couple episodes were kind of not good, but they were anime original, so I don't know what the point of that was. But Lux thinks that this is a very aesthetically awesome series and hopes that it will deliver on some more promises, just like what the hell is going on in some of it. And it is so far setting up a pretty cool mystery in this season. I
am not going to do the vocal tick thing with you. However,
they all talk in third person.
Yes. I agree. The hardest part of getting back into it was remembering everything that happened in the last season, because it's very much like a mystery show. Yeah. But I think the only thing that's really been important so far to have to remember is that coffee is evil.
Yes.
And I'm glad somebody's finally brave enough to say it.
I won't stand for this.
I agree.
And yeah, I think the new season has set up an interesting conflict so far. It has not too much has happened in it yet, but I really enjoyed the first season of Shadow's House, and I'm very excited to continue with this one.
Yeah. Except it's trash because it doesn't have Nine Eye.
That's true.
Nine Eye is the greatest thing of all time. Why did they replace it?
You should make your own.
Fuck you, Claris.
You should make your own in code and put it up on The only difference is that you on Naya. the only difference is that you edit in Nine Eye.
It's the first season's ED, yeah.
Or Naya, as it's called in Resident Evil world.
What?
They reference Nya in Resident Evil on Netflix. They call it Naya.
What's going on? Simon's got the new Decadence. It's the super hard to get anime. Not that hard, it's on Naya.
Oh my god. Yeah. But yeah, again, it's cool that yeah, it's just cool. It started off really nicely so far, so I'm really looking forward to it. It's also branching out to the other characters a little more. Like it's not so focused on Emilico and Kate.
Yeah,
so far,
that's
there's
nice
a pretty
too.
Big emphasis on Barbie.
Yeah, which is an interesting choice. I did not see Barbie becoming important, but
yeah. Although I do like that because she always seemed like she was more interesting than everyone else in the supporting cast.
So yeah, I'm down. I'm excited. Hopefully we'll finally learn some things in this season.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And then I like that Shadow's House got a second season so quickly. Meanwhile, this series, The Devil is a Part-Timer, took a whole 9 years to get a second season.
Studio took their sweet timer.
So The Devil is a Part-Timer was one of the first anime I ever watched.
Wow.
Ooh.
The friend who introduced me to anime showed it to me, and we watched it together and had a fantastic time. And I was kind of thinking that I probably wouldn't like it as much now that I'm an adult, but we were hanging out a couple weeks ago after the first episode came out, and I was like, hey, for old time's sake, do you want to watch the first episode of the new season? So we did, and first off, so the first episode of the first season, it begins with the scene of Mahou, the main character, fleeing from the fantasy world where he's the demon lord, and it has this really cool well animated battle scene of the hero's army fighting his army of demons and everything, and then his fight against the hero's party and everything and their escape. Really cool opening to the entire series. The second season shows the same scene with a lot of the same narration, but reanimates it, and it looks a million times worse.
Oh yeah, the biggest.
Which is so strange. Like, guys, it's been 9 years. You could have just reused the cool animation if you really wanted to do this again. Instead, you just literally did the same thing, but worse.
Oh, sure.
And then that was kind of the theme for the rest of that episode. It was not as funny. It didn't have the spark. I didn't really enjoy it. And I know I just said that I kind of predicted I wouldn't enjoy it as much as an adult. So to verify that, I went back and I rewatched just the first episode of the first season again, and it was just as good. It was so funny.
Right.
And for some reason, the second season isn't as funny. I don't know what it is. I don't know why.
I think I know what it is.
If just like the 10-year gap made them lose the magic or whatever. But
because I knew season 2 of this was coming out, so I watched season 1 very recently because I know it's a classic and I had never seen it before, and I loved it. It was so funny. It was really, really funny. And then this comes out, and the biggest step down is definitely the visuals. It just doesn't look as good. And it's like a way looser style. They go off model in a non-intentional way. The colors are much less saturated. And I feel like so much of the comedy of season 1 was in the animation. Was in like the way people are animated when they react or like they make a face. Like Chiho makes so many insane faces in season 1. And they try in season 2, but it just looks like shit. It looks terrible. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like the jokes themselves haven't changed, but the payoff to the joke doesn't land because everything looks way worse.
That could be. Yeah, I did enjoy the whole thing in the first episode of season 2 with, like, the cockroach.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good, but you're right. Like, the payoff just didn't land for some reason.
Because it is the same humor. It's the same voice actors, right? I mean, it's not like there was a big gap in the writing.
As far as I'm aware.
It's based on light novel, I'm guessing. It's not like there was a big gap in the writing of that. So, I mean...
No.
No.
So I remember I even remember, like, after finishing the first season, like, asking my friend about, like, the source. And she was like, oh yeah, there's plenty more. Like, the next arc, they have to take care of a baby.
Yeah, now it's like... which, again...
So it existed back then.
I think it could be very funny if it was the same crew as season 1. This whole... them having to be parents. This angel baby that showed up. Because that's a fun setup for these two characters who have this very tense relationship. Like, they're... well, now they kind of... are friends and they get along, but they have this conceit of she's an angelic fighter who has to kill the demon lord, and he is the demon lord. So they have to kind of pretend to be at odds, but they're not really anymore. And now they have to, like, make friends and take care of this baby and pretend to be his parents. I could see that being fucking hilarious if it was in season 1. It just doesn't land.
Yeah, it's weird and disappointing. I will say though that gave me the opportunity to reaffirm my affection for the first season, and that's a great comedy.
It is.
It's like it's from well before like the Demon Lord was the thing that's in every anime too. So it was ahead of its time, and there's a reason it was the Trailblazer. Yeah. It's a great show.
Sort of reverse Isekai also, Trailblazer.
Yeah, reverse Isekai.
And also, the Isekai while doing a normal mundane activity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super trendsetty. That's not a word. I just made that shit up.
Power of the English language, but yes.
This disappointing to hear that it's not quite as good, especially because it's been made by one of my favorite studios, who I've been waiting to get like their big break where they get to do a big mainstream show. And
who is it?
Not 3 Hertz is what they're called.
Threats.
They did Flip Flappers and Princess Principal a long time ago.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
They did Healer Girl, your favorite show from last season.
The one with singing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a show. Oh, the first one was White Fox. All right.
Yeah.
Like you can see just in the promo art, like the red hair, Aries red hair, Emmy. Like in the season 1 posters, it's like cherry red. It's like really saturated. You look at the new poster, and it's like this is weird. Like
yeah, you know what? I totally see what the fuck did they do?
Like they just
it's
animated
like they
it.
downscaled her to 480p quality. It looks fucking awful.
It's like they took the saturation slider and like just set it to like -10. It's like it's not drastic, but it is different and it looks worse.
I think it is drastic. This looks awful, actually.
Actually, kind of.
I'm just gonna post a side by side. That's fucking wrong.
It's like this muted wine red now, where it used to be like cherry.
What did they do to her?
I don't know. They changed the color. Yeah, it looks way worse. God, like when you put them side to side, Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, that's
so I don't know. Maybe it's in the same category with Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer, where 10 years ago it could have been great, but
yeah,
took too long to come out.
Yeah,
I think if it had been, it just had to be the original crew working on it again. I think they made the magic.
Yeah,
well, that's way too far gone. No way was that going to happen.
Yeah, but no way it's going to happen. But that's how it could have been as good as the first. Like, there's no way for anyone to pick that up and just continue it the way it were.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, at least I guess it's nice that it finally happened. If someone invented time travel, if someone invented a time machine, I would use that to go back to like 2015, and I'd tell everybody, "Don't worry, there will be a second season."
2022.
It'll come out at the same time as Ruby becoming a real anime.
It will come out.
This doesn't bode well for Spice and Wolf.
No.
Don't worry. It'll come out 2 years after Donald Trump stopped being president.
Oh my god. That's a way of wording it.
And the world will implode.
Yeah. I'm going to add a small section for anime that we're not watching because I just mentioned Ruby. Panic, I'm surprised you're not watching Rent a Girlfriend. I thought you liked that.
No.
Oh. Okay, well, moving on.
I mean, I like the shitpost status of it. That is all.
Well, anime that are good, that we have been waiting on for a little bit. Actually, not too long, technically. It's season 2 of Maid and Abyss, which the first season came out 5 years ago, but there was the follow-up movie, which is an actual sequel called Dawn of the Deep Soul, in case you're out of the loop with Maid and Abyss, or if you're looking to get into it. Yeah, the first season.
Did we do a sponsored episode about that movie?
We did sponsored episodes for both of those. Both the first season.
Dawn of the Deep Soul was a great movie.
And Dawn of the Deep Soul. And yeah, now we finally have season 2 called Golden City of the Scorching Sun. And my observation of Maid and Abyss, now that we've had a few years since that first anime, and now that we have a lot more content for it, now that we're not just looking at it as one season of anime that came out, I think that Maid and Abyss had a really, really good start, and then it got kind of like for a few episodes, and then there was, the big episode where it finally got as dark and gruesome as it kind of said it would be. And ever since that one big turning point episode, I think Maid and Abyss has been consistently excellent.
I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah, it has really found its footing, and it has not let up at all. Because going into this season, I had no idea what to expect, honestly, because they kind of wrapped up everything they set up from the first season with Dawn of the Deep Soul. Because season 1 ended with like, oh, we gotta go confront Bondrewd, and we have Mitty and her backstory and what's going on with her, and then they, wrap that all up in the movie. So it's like, okay, well, obviously they're gonna continue going down the abyss, but what will they run into? Like, what's the sixth layer going to be like?
And I think that was a really cool position for the show to have left off in, too, because kind of the whole deal with the sixth layer is that it's the layer, like, once you reach that point, humans can't return. So they had, it was the first time they had, like, basically no information about what was down there. And neither did we. So the only thing that we knew, or that I knew, was from a comment on our Dawn of the Deep Soul video, where just someone was saying, like, I don't know how they're going to adapt the next season because there's so much body horror they're going to have to censor it. I'm like, well, all right.
So far, there hasn't been any censorship, I'll say that.
Yeah, and there's definitely been some fucked up shit.
There's been some body horror. Yeah, but this season, it's kind of like a clean slate for Made in Abyss, and it's doing something totally different for the series, where now I have a feeling that the entire season is just going to be this one layer, and it's going to be this one setting.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And it's really interesting. So the sixth layer has
big spoilers for Made in Abyss.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the third season now.
This series is really good.
Go watch Made in Abyss.
Go watch it, please. If you have any intention of doing so, don't listen to this.
All right. See ya.
Later, Panic. So the Golden City is inhabited by hollows, which are the mutated, melted humans that got cursed by the Abyss, basically. And their desires are generated they're assigned value. They just literally call it value, which is both the currency and the law of this area, of this place. So, like, if you take something from someone else or damage it that has value, then it's like nature itself attacks you and takes away the value equivalent. Yeah. Which is a concept that in and of itself could have been its own series. And It's just the third season of this show. And that is awesome.
I think it was so cool and creepy how they do the whole thing with mania, where, like, not knowing how any of this works, Riko is asked, like, oh, is mania important to you? And when she says yes, of course, that means, like, okay, mania has enormous value. And so the person who was, like, fucking with mania,
with it,
and the person who was playing with mania and, like, accidentally hurt it, like, has their stomach ripped open and all their guts spilled out to, like, compensate for the value.
Yeah. And it's fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
It's just, it really, like, it's so cool how it still fits with the beauty and also the grotesqueness of Made in Abyss. It's always really teetered between those two things. Because, like, the place they're in itself is beautiful. Like, it looks so cool and just also really weird, but I also feel like it might be grotesque, because my theory for, like, why it's so weirdly colorful is that it's probably because of all of those melted bodies from the hollows.
Yeah.
That's my theory. Could be wrong. Could be for no reason, because the Abyss just has lots of weird, crazy shit in it. But, yeah.
I also really like and appreciate the whole, like, parallel narrative thing that's going on now with the group that was spelunking through the Abyss, like, what was it, 2,000 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing flashbacks to, like, their journey down, like, slightly ahead of before the main characters arrive in the same places. Yeah. That has been really cool so far.
Yeah, this season has just been so fascinating, and it's built on what the series has already done so well. It's so different, but I don't know, dude. It's just really great. I've been this season has been so much fun and so thrilling that each episode ends and I'm like, fuck you, that was 5 minutes. That was not 24.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly how I'm feeling too.
So yeah, I'm just kind of wondering where it's going to go. Because a new character has shown up who I guess is one of those original travelers or whatever. And it's someone who knew Reg. So
yeah.
It's like Reg. Yeah, so,
this is a character I had heard of before too. Faputa.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had heard that name. So I think, her name is Fap.
Very fitting for this series, honestly.
I'm not sure where, but I had heard that name. So I think that this is like a character that people care about.
I wouldn't be. I would not be surprised because that's just been the whole series so far, where people are like, "Oh, you're gonna love Bone Druid, you're gonna love Prushka, you're gonna love these other characters."
Yeah. So, Maid in Abyss, always been good, keeps getting better.
Yeah.
Watch it, nerd.
Yeah. It's so dense. There's so many ideas. It's just great. I really love this season. Anime of the season, anime of the year contender.
Absolutely.
Loving it.
So that was the last one we had on our list. You mentioning it in passing earlier, though, did remind me of something I had forgotten, which is that the Ruby anime is airing.
Yeah.
And I know it seems like none of us are watching it, but I remember when the first episode came out, seeing first like the incredible Sakuga fight scenes, and then immediately thereafter just like some absolutely atrocious animation.
That I think is becoming the norm for Studio Shaft.
Okay. It's Shaft, right? Yeah, Shaft. It's so sad how Shaft just never recovered.
Because that's kind of what I think happened with what I think. I saw the second season of Magia Record last year, and it was like it was 8 episodes. 7 of them were like the most amazingly animated episodes of anime I've ever seen, and then 1 was just like they fucked off. There was nothing there. It was miserable. So I don't know. I think Shaft has become extremely uneven and maybe not all that well run.
Is it just because all their people are like fled to other studios?
A lot of them did, yeah.
That's too bad.
There's still enough, I think, at the core where occasionally you'll get something Shinbo-esque like Pretty Boy Detective Club. Hopefully we can get some more of that at some point.
Mm-hmm.
To an extent, I would say Magia Record was kind of like that. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, they are working on Rebellion, too.
That's true. They did, or post-Rebellion, whatever the next movie is going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did get confirmation a little while ago that, yes, that is still being worked on.
The Rebellion sequel is finally happening.
So hopefully that'll be good. Obviously, maybe one of the most contentious anime of all time.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it.
But personally, I really liked Rebellion. So.
I still haven't seen it. I gotta watch that.
You haven't seen it?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I vaguely know what happens, though, because it was referenced in Magia Record. In one of the stories when I played that. What a fucking mistake that was.
Yeah. But
I just can't believe that not only is Ruby an anime, actually I can believe that, but they gave it to Shaft. They gave it to all of these people who are super famous and could be doing way better stuff. Like Geniru Buchi is writing this shit.
What?
Yeah, Geniru Buchi is in charge of this.
How?
Wait, Buchi, get off of fucking Ruby and make more goddamn Thunderbolt Fantasy right this moment.
But wait.
They left Thunderbolt Fantasy on such a fucking cliffhanger at the end of the last season. And I have no idea when I'm going to get more, and it's driving me nuts.
Do any of you know anything about Ruby? Or did you watch it?
I watched the first season of Ruby way back in the day and liked it, and then I watched the second season and thought it was terrible and never finished.
Yeah, all I've heard about it is that it got way worse. Like, the start was good, then it got shit.
Yeah. The big thing that happened to make it get worse is that the original creator died.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's fair.
The creator died, and also it had a pretty dramatic shift, like around the same time in that third volume, because they don't have seasons; they call them volumes.
They're right.
It's so deep. They're so interesting. But yeah, I have seen Ruby to an extent, because I didn't catch on to it early on, but I watched the first 3 volumes when those were the only ones that existed. Then I watched the next 2 that came out, and it became a show where characters stand around and talk, and then there's maybe like a fight scene for a couple minutes at the end, and then it's over.
Oh,
and
sick.
It sucked ass.
So is this new anime a remake of the first season, or is it a continuation?
It seems like it is. It seems like they are like rebooting Ruby as an actual anime. Like because I don't know. Like I've heard that they have been like readapting what the show did, but it's also adding original new things. So I'm not entirely sure what the whole thing is, what the deal is. I mean, because it's not like Ruby is over. Like, Rooster Teeth is still very much making it. They are still, making like volume 10 or whatever it's on now. So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, but so is the consensus then that the anime is like not that great?
I guess. I think so.
Because that's what I was curious about. I hadn't heard people talk about it since those first couple episodes, when at first people were like, it looks great. And then the people who weren't just Ruby shows were like, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just not entirely sure. It's weird, though. It's weird, but it exists. Ruby, we have now put the meme to rest. We can stop arguing about whether or not Ruby is an anime, because it is. It just is.
Yes.
Can't deny it.
Mother's Basement 1.
Here's an idea. Avatar: The Last Airbender is an anime. Fuck you. Fight me.
Oh, I thought he said that about Ruby. Whoops. Still funny.
We tried to fight him, but he was too powerful.
It's the worst thing that could ever happen.
Yeah, how unfortunate.
Geoff winning.
Goof through. Anyway, so that's about it. That's all the anime that we've got. All the stuff that we watched this season. So, yeah. I don't know. What should we say now?
If you're not watching Summertime Render,
oh, yes.
do it. I'm going to keep telling people every single episode we make until it's over and we can finally do our full episode on the series.
True.
Yes. Good call. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's
Good
it.
show. That's it.
Watch
All right,
Overlord.
we're gonna get the hell out of here. Yeah, watch Overlord if you want. I don't know what can I do to stop you. Thanks everyone for listening or watching or whatever you did. Thanks for being you. Thanks for existing, and we'll see you next time. Tutoru, mofos.
Oh yeah, and also like, comment, and subscribe, and rate and review on whatever platform you're listening on. Links in the show notes for our Twitter and our Discord, as well as any visual gags that might appear on the YouTube video. Thanks for making Tokyo Podfathers a part of your day. I hope you're having a good one.